All right. So, we are going to be looking at. Actually, anybody know what this was basically a problem about? Anybody remember back from like 8th grade?
No, I don't remember. This is probably one of the times I wasn't paying attention.
The word is also on the top there.
Slope. Oh, God, yeah. I
Slope.
Yeah.
Horizontal.
Yep. I hate slope as well. It takes way too much effort in listening.
They're not bad. It's easy like this.
It's just like graph.
It's like y over x. It's x over y.
Alright, so, we're going to be looking at slope.
Slope is x
We're
over
looking
y.
at slope today, so hush. So, slope is a special rate of change. And another word for slope.
Y is overrun.
We'll get to that. So, another word for slope, and I don't think I put it on here, but slope is really how steep something is. That's what slope is, a special rate of change to show how steep something is. So, when we talk about slope, it is our vertical change over our horizontal change, which we usually refer to as, anybody remember?
Rise over run.
Rise over run.
Oh, Medra, okay.
So, vertical change to horizontal.
I hated that. But
so, slope is almost always a fraction. Sometimes it might reduce out, like if you get 5 over 1, that's really 5. But it's almost always a fraction, which are good. We really like fractions for slopes, and we'll see why later. But not yet. So make sure you guys are taking notes, because these are work points on your notebook checks.
Yes, sir.
We just did one a little bit ago. We're going to do another one at the end of this chapter. What was this? Ruben?
Dude, I don't like this.
So, we're doing rise over run. So if I'm going to find the slope, I'm going to look at this line here. I'm going to find its slope. And to find slope, I need 2 points that I know exactly where they are on this graph, which means they fall on these graph lines here. So, if I'm going to look on this graph line, hey, if I'm going to look on this graph line here, this one's kind of nice because they already gave us 2 points right here and right here. But I need to be careful because eventually we're going to find our own. So if I'm going to make my own points, or if I'm going to find my own, I don't want to choose someplace like right here. Because do I know exactly where this point is on my graph? No. I think it's about like 2 and maybe a quarter, but I don't know exactly, so I'm not going to pick it. I'm going to pick ones that line up exactly on graph lines. Which is kind of hard to do when I make up some answers. Moses, so we want to pick ones that line up exactly on graph lines. So this one lines up exactly, this one lines up exactly. So there's actually, you can kind of look at slope a couple different ways, but I'm going to tell you the same way every time to be consistent. Because I don't want you guys getting turned around. So to find your slope, start on the left point, whatever point is on the left, which is right here. And I'm going to say, how high up do I need to go until I am even with my right foot?
3.
And on this one, I am going up
4.
1, 2.
Oh.
I got to go up 2. My rise is 2. That's how high I'm going up. Now I need to be careful. If you go down, it is negative. Up is positive.
Yes. Should be negative here?
Yeah, it would be negative if I was going down. So when you go up, it is positive. When you're going down, it's negative. So this only works though when you go from left to right. So always start on your left point and say, oh, I'm going up, so it's positive. So it's up 2, and then from there, I need to figure out how far to the right do I need to go to my right point here, which is 1, 2, 3. This one's easy, 2 over 3. My slope is 2 over 3. So the steepness of this line is up 2 over 3. I think, yeah, I just put this box there. I don't know why I had this box too. So my slope, 2 over 3. So we're going to just practice finding a few slopes. Some of them are going to be easy like this. Some of them are going to be a little tougher. So let's look at this part B right here. And this part B is also pretty nice because they gave us points and gave us little arrows. So I need to pick exactly points I know for sure, and I'm just going to use theirs. So I'm going to look at this one and this one. So as I look at this, I'm going from left to right, and this time I am going down. I'm going down 1, 2, 3, 4. Because I'm going down 4, my slope is negative. My slope is negative 4, and then I need to find my run. And so left to right, I need to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 right. -5/4 is my slope. Moses, did you just get in trouble for messing around during the lesson? There we go. You should probably take some notes too, get some points for this. So my slope on part B here is -4/5. Negative because I'm going down. Remember, always look from left to right. If you go down from the left and then over, it's negative. Do one more than you guys are going to do one. So I'm going to look at this bottom one here, and this one's also kind of nice because they gave me 2 points I can use. I'm going to use these 2 points. So to go from left to right, I'm going up 1, 2, up 2, and then I'm going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the right. My slope is 2/5.
It was very easy, Mr. Hopi.
Yeah, I know. The hardest part is just making sure you get exactly the right points.
Exactly.
So you guys are going to do an in-class problem here, but before you get started on this graph here, I didn't think about this when I made it, but you see the really, really little faint gray lines? Those are like 0.25s. The actual lines are these darker ones. So this is an actual line. This is an actual line. This one's an actual line. These are all the one lines. Yeah. So the darker ones are your actual lines. The really faint ones are like decimal lines, and we don't care about those. So you're gonna have to pick which ones you know for sure. So on this, use these darker lines to figure out. So you're gonna have to pick 2 points you know for sure on there, and then find your slope from there. So pick 2 points you know for sure, but remember, don't use these little really faint gray lines, because you'll get a wrong answer because I didn't think to get rid of those when I made this. So on your own, find your slope, and then check with your partner, and then somebody's doing it on the board.
I think I found it.
Good. Check with Adelia once you're done. Once she's done.
I'm confused.
Pick 2 points you know for sure.
I'm confused. Alright, Julia.
Wait.
I don't got it.
I think I did it wrong. What'd you get there? What did you do it?
Show me how to do this next time.
So what you want to do is you want to pick 2 points you know for sure.
Okay, so
You know that doesn't do it for sure.
mm-hmm.
I did it. I don't know for sure that works.
Those are like decimal lines.
No, it's rise over.
Yeah, I did. Oh wait, no, it's this. Oh my god. No, it says left or right.
What'd you get? Rise over run. Rise over.
No,
I mean, I don't understand. Pick 2 points you know for sure where they are. Wait,
That's not.
Which one's which?
No, I don't do that. I'm not gonna believe you.
Ignore those.
What?
I'm not gonna believe you at all. I believe myself.
9 points you know
Let me
for
ask you
sure
if it goes.
exactly
Wait,
where
what'd
they are.
you get? That's what I don't understand how you guys did that because
You know exactly when that is? Is that on? It's on one of them.
Hey!
So is that right?
Rise over run.
Rise.
So that. Oh, so wait. So.
Rise over run.
No, he's not. He's
2 points
talking
you
to
know
the.
for sure.
So maybe.
So, where's the point you know for sure?
What'd you get?
I
use your answer.
After lesson?
You went there because I didn't get it done and then I got it.
No, I left the paper there. And I was just put it back, right? You're off. Yeah.
Makes it a little bit easier. Alright, so I made those lines darker for you. So now,
If I come
where
in-
comes our graph across?
Oh!
Like, we want points we know exactly. I don't know. Well, do we know?
Because
you
it's
know
like
us?
a
Right
paper.
here. Mackenzie, you get it right.
Yeah.
Where's another one?
What'd you get, Fisher?
I had the same exact thing as you guys, but flip flopped it.
No, it's somewhere in the middle, right? You don't want something.
We got one over
Oh, that's a good one.
No, you got three over the middle.
Oh.
I said the same thing as you, but flip flopped it.
Let's stop with the
Oh,
name.
Mackenzie. You got me.
So, we need to find dots. We need to find dots for that.
Rise over run.
So we need to
Huh?
figure out. Like, do I know exactly
They're not here.
What is it we're
where
gonna
to
do?
find exactly?
Oh.
Practice.
Huh? I just. Oh. What about Ivory
It's gonna
McKenzie?
be a fun
I
practice.
didn't say anything about Ivory. I said Mr. Ivory.
I'm just kidding.
I'm just kidding, Jason.
Yeah,
I
I'm
wrote
gonna
a
beat you,
bad
man.
three-point contest.
That's funny.
We're 19.
Huh?
We're 19.
We're 19th. Oh my god, we went that much down for losing.
Oh yeah, just like Thursday.
Con game was better than us.
We did the play.
Alright, it's looking pretty good. So we're gonna have somebody do this on the board for us.
Mr. Go.
Pick somebody random. We'll pick somebody random.
I love
You are a little random, but
Nestle Crunch.
nobody's at that desk.
Me?
Yeah, alright, Ivory. Do this one on the board for
You
us.
don't know how to do it, Mr.
You got this.
Mr. Goki, don't waste your time.
We got this, Ivory.
Don't waste your time, Mr. Goki. Don't waste your time.
Wait, I got you.
My
Alright, Ivory's doing this one on the board for us. So put your points on there. Put your points. Like put the dots on there.
Where are the
Read put the
dots?
dots on your graph.
You put
You
it
gotta put them there yourself.
Where do I put it? No.
Oh, we gotta pick points to know exactly where they are. So that's a good one right there, yep. You know exactly where that one is.
No.
Okay, we need another one now. Do we know exactly where that crosses
I
though?
was playing. No, I don't.
You guys are probably one of the top.
Lindsay.
Oh my gosh, she must be so embarrassed.
Alright, we
You
need one
done
more,
it?
right?
You know it?
Where's our second one at, Ivory?
Yeah, I agree.
Oh,
What's the only other whole number on there?
There we go. Alright, we gotta find rise over run now. How are we gonna find it?
What is the only other
Yeah,
ow! I don't know if I can reach it.
that's fine. Just do your best.
I was rude.
Just leave
Keep
it.
going.
It's not working.
Just press harder.
Oh,
Alright, so what's our rise? 3.
You.
Right? It's a run.
I thought it was rise first, then.
Yeah, that's what
Can I
I
do it? Can I do it the right way?
Okay,
Is that
so
right?
No, it is.
you are close,
No,
but you're not
no.
quite.
Actually, I am right. Never mind.
So
Well, you-
there was
no,
a reason.
no,
what did I
you're
say
wrong.
to do every
That's-
time?
Ooh, I got it.
Every
You're
time you do it.
irrelevant.
No, stop.
You're
I got
Alright,
it.
good. So, what did I say to do every time to do this? What did I say, Kinsey?
Rise over run. You
It
gotta
is
start
rise
from the
over run.
left side, go to the right.
So, we should always start on the left side and then go to the right. So, Ivory is very close, but she started on the right and went left. And what messed her up was it's not 3 over 1 because when I start on my left and I go down,
negative.
it is negative. So my slope is negative 3 over 1. That's why I said always go from left to right. Always go from left to right. So my slope is negative 3 over 1. So you were close, Ivory. You just forgot that left to right part.
And equals 3. I don't know if that's what you might
So when you guys do slopes, you guys can do, what is negative 3 over 1 really?
Negative 3.
Negative 3, right? When it comes to slopes, leave them as a fraction.
Yes.
So this answer is better than negative 3. And you guys will see why later. For right now, it's not a big deal really, but do it like this just to help make the habit for later. Because for later, we're going to really want fractions.
Fillet. Wait, didn't I
Okay.
say this was really easy?
So we found slope by looking at pictures. This time, we're going to find slope by looking at 2 points.
No, you didn't.
So we can still do
So we
rise
have to
over run.
graph it?
I'd kill anybody in that.
Hey, hush,
With my Dr.
hush. We are almost done. We got like 1 or 2 more slides. So we found slope by looking at a graph. We are also going to find slope
Mr. Goki, I have a question.
by looking. Yes, but
Who do you use in Injustice 2?
what?
Who do you use in Injustice 2?
Nobody. No shush.
Oh,
You don't
okay.
play Injustice 2?
No shush.
What a nerd. Sorry.
Okay.
Sorry, man.
So we found slope by looking at our graph. This time around, we're going to find slope just by given an XY coordinate. So, just like before, it's rise over run, but there's a specific formula we're going to use. And I think I'm actually gonna write it slightly differently just because I think it's easier to remember. So, for my rise, let me back up. So I'm going to find the slope of the line through -1, 0, and 3, -2. So these are XY coordinates. The first one is always X, the second one is always Y. And because I'm given 2, I'm going to call the first one xy, and I'm going to call the second one x1, y1. So xy, x1, y1. They're both, I have x and x, y and y. I'm just using the numbers to show that when I talk about x, I'm using -1. When I talk about x1, I'm using 3. So the formula for our slope is going to be y minus y1 over x minus x1. So we don't need to look at our graph to find our slope. We could graph the points ourselves and make a line and then count rise over run, but we don't need to. Let's just use this formula. It's a lot easier. So what I'm going to do is I need to fill in x, y, x1, and y1 with our actual numbers, and then we're just going to subtract. So on this, I said y is 0, so I'm going to go 0 minus y1 is, I got to be careful, it's not just 2, it's -2. So 0 minus -2 over x is -1 minus x1 is 3. All I'm going to do is subtract on the top, then subtract on the bottom, and then I am done unless I need to reduce, which I could get like a 2/4, which is really a 1/2, but that's not as big a deal as this. So I'm going to go 0 minus -2. What's minus negative really? What? It's plus. Minus a negative is really plus a positive. So 0 plus 2 is 2 over -1 minus 3 is -4. And we are almost done. There's one last thing we can do. What's 2/4? If I'm going to reduce that. 1/2. So, yeah, -1/2. So, when we talk about slopes, it actually doesn't matter where your negative is. So I could go 1 over -2, or I could go -1 over 2, or I could go -1 over 2 like this. Your book usually uses this one right here. The book usually uses that. So, it doesn't matter where, but that's what the book likes. I don't really have a preference, so
Even if it's like sideways like that.
yeah. So we're going to practice 1 or 2 more of these, and then you guys are going to do one. So I'm going to find my slope on here. So I'm going to go x, y, x1, y1. We're going to fill in this formula. So I'm going to go y is 3 minus y1 is -1 over x is 1 minus x1 is 4.
Why is it minus?
That's what the formula is. You're finding the difference between them is what you're doing.
Oh.
So this is a way to do it without a graph?
Yes. So you could graph it, but that would take forever. Kind of annoying. So we're just using our formula here. This is our
Interesting.
slope formula. So your book, well, I'll talk about it once we're done. So I'm going to go through and I have to actually subtract. If I'm going 3 minus -1, Ruben, help me out. What's minus negative really? Plus positive, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going 3 plus 1 is 4 over 1 minus 4 is -3. And can I reduce 4 over 3?
No.
Nope. That's it. So keep in mind though, the negative can be anywhere. I could have -4 over 3 or -4 over 3.
I like
What's
that.
with the -4 like right there?
I like that better.
Like that?
Yeah, I think it's easier too. It's kind of hard to find your place sometimes. But... Alright, so you guys are going to help me out this next one. Actually, you guys want to do one more practice? Or you ready for A class?
Ready.
Alright, do one in the box. Do this one in the box then. Find your slope. And somebody's going to do it on the board for us. And make sure you have this formula because you're going to need it for the, like half your lesson today.
Wait, Mr. So would it be negative now? It would be -6, right? Ew!
Why are you always looking at us when you're doing
Everyone was looking.
It's the thing between me and Moses and the movies.
Because you're starting at age
all the time like
smaller.
Oh, okay, so yeah.
I'm gonna file
A restraint if you don't stop.
Started, man.
Good?
I don't know what kids you
You
get.
say baby fly, it reminds me of that. A bug's life, you know.
You're very close, but one more thing you can do.
Oh my god, simplify.
What do you get?
I have pretty fun with those.
You get,
Well, how do you
you get 10. You get negative 10.
It's on, dude.
You get negative 5 over 0.
That one's wrong.
What do you mean you can simplify?
Oh my god, really?
Oh, Ivory, I forgot to, or I didn't notice at first, but what's supposed to be on top of that fraction? X's or Y's? Y's.
Oh,
We got it flipped around. So just flip your answer.
I knew that.
Wait, how do you simplify?
You're very close.
Is it,
You're
is
missing
it,
one thing though.
oh,
You're missing one thing.
Adelia, mine was
All right, 30 seconds, and somebody else is doing this.
I'll stop trying in life.
I'll do it. Name.
Huh?
Just kidding, I don't even know the answer.
Can you do that?
What is it?
It's negative 10 over.
Am I weird, Adelia? Is this weird?
All right.
Ah.
So we're gonna have Moses do this one on the board for us.
Moses
Can I
is
do the
good.
graph?
You wanna make the graph?
Okay, because I don't really understand this way. Alright.
No,
I like this way. This way.
How do you not understand this way?
There's so much steps in the
You look
All right.
pretty thick today, Moses.
So we're doing this without a graph. You could use a graph, but that's a lot of work. So it's y minus y1 over x minus x1.
Hey, howdy.
What do you think? All right, looks good so far. Keep going.
Why?
What is that?
Muscles.
My name Modus and
Keep going. Just ignore him, Moses. Keep going.
Man, you're the
Yeah, you're good so far. Keep going. Oh, you're good. Keep going. Keep going. So negative 2 over negative 8 on top. 3 minus 4 on the bottom. Good. Push it off now. What do we get when we subtract? Nope.
No,
What's negative 2 minus 8?
Negative 2 minus 8?
Yep.
Negative 2 minus 8.
Negative 10.
Oh, that's a negative 10.
Negative 10. Yep.
My goodness.
Yeah, you erased that with your finger?
Good
No.
Good job, little buddy.
we all seen it.
Alright, keep it going.
He's
That is really negative 10. Alright, what do we get on the bottom?
79.
Alright, and there is one thing we can do. So 10 over 1 doesn't reduce, right? But what can we do? Yeah, we can get that. But if we are going to leave it as a
Good one,
fraction,
Modus.
what's a negative over a negative, really?
Oh my God, Mr.
So you could say just regular 10, or because we really like fractions,
10
do
over
10 over
0?
1. Positive 10 over positive 1.
Oh,
That's what you were missing, Kinsey.
so it could be 10 over 10?
10 over 1. No, that would be wrong.
10 over 1?
Yeah, positive 10 over positive 1.
I might buy
It
you a
has to
new
be like
bag.
that?
That's the most reduced form. So,
It's kind of squeaking
Where
out.
has he been? From the Arabic tribe
Alright.
of Uganda.
You like that?
no.
No.
Alright, so one last thing to keep in mind. I don't believe you have any of these on your homework, but you might.
Commander Ashley
So,
of the Federal.
real quick, we're gonna find slopes. We're gonna find two special slopes. So I'm gonna look at my red line here.
Commander Ashley.
And you know what? I'm not gonna do my formula. I'm gonna find the slope of it, but I'm gonna use the points it gives. So we're about done. But I'm not sure you guys are gonna listen to music at this point.
You
We're
guys,
gonna mess around.
even though I was talking, shut up.
Bro, he been.
That's some way to admit you was wrong too. I'll shut it. Alright, so I'm gonna do rise over run on my red line here. So if I'm going from my left to right, am I going up at all?
No.
No. So my rise is 0, and I'm going over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
5.
If I go 0 over 5, what is that really?
That's
No.
0.
0.
I told you.
If you ever have a completely horizontal line or a completely flat line, it is always 0 slope.
Always.
Always 0.
Not one time. Not 2 times. Not all the time. All the time.
So can we do this now?
Almost.
What is 0 over 5?
Okay. So if you ever have a completely flat line, completely horizontal, it is always 0 for your slope. So you don't even need to do any math, you just say 0 and be done. Okay, we're gonna look at the blue line now, and this one's a little different. So I'm gonna pick 2 points I know for sure on this line. All right, if I'm going for this, I'm doing rise over run, right? Well, my rise is gonna be like 2, but am I going left or right?
Yeah, you're going right. So 5. Right 5 times.
No, man.
What?
Am I going left or right? No, blue line. Blue line, not red line.
Blue line.
Okay, am I going left or right at all?
No.
So I'm going left and right 0. What is 2 over 0?
2.
No,
2 over 0.
no. What's 2 over 0 really?
0 over 2.
No.
2.
2-0.
Plug it in Desmos. Who's got Desmos? Plug it in real quick.
2 over 0 is.
You got Desmos going there, Gabe?
Divide by.
You got Desmos on your screen? Undefined. So, if you try to plug in, hey, we're almost done, shush. So, anytime you try to divide by 0, it breaks your calculator. Well, it doesn't break, but it gives you an error because you cannot divide by 0. So this is undefined.
Really?
Undefined.
It is undefined. All completely vertical lines, all straight up and down lines, are undefined. You don't even need to do any work. You just say undefined and you're done. Alright, that is it. So, you guys have your exit ticket here. So, find your slope of every line. I will turn on Socrative in just a minute, and then you guys can work on your homework.
Dang it.
Yes.
There is enough water.
He has first, then he can.